Montage Insurance Solutions. I wanted to take a moment to first apologize for the initial meeting. It didn't go as expected, but what I thought I would do is record a meeting that perhaps you'll be able to look at and learn from. And then if there's something in either of these two programs, either ThinkHR or CSR24, that you would like more information on, or you would like a personalized run through of either of these programs, I'm certainly happy to do that for you. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to log into ThinkHR, because I know that this is a powerful tool that many of you actually have access to. And I want to make sure that you know how to use it and what some of the cool components are of it, or some of the things that you as an HR person, or even as a general manager or an officer or a manager of the company who have access to ThinkHR, what you can get out of it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is go to a customer login. And you'll see that there are two places to log in, ThinkHR Workplace and ThinkHR Learn. I'm going to encourage you to use the ThinkHR Workplace login, because that's going to take you to the full component of everything that ThinkHR has to offer, including ThinkHR Learn. So what I'm saying is you can get to ThinkHR Learn from the ThinkHR Workplace. So I'm going to go into my ThinkHR Workplace. I'm going to enter my own information in here. And if you are on this call, then you actually already have access to ThinkHR. And you should have a username and password. If you don't have that, or if you've forgotten what it is, please let me know, and I'll make sure to send you the information. So the first thing that you're going to see here is my personal login space. Now you, as a user, are going to have each one of these buttons, with the exception of the partner admin, because I'm the administrator for this particular program for Montage. And so this is where I can assign users and clients to it. The very first thing I'd like to draw your attention to is a couple of different items on the start page. The first one is this 877 number, or this 800 number. This is a phone number that you can use if you have an HR question and you might be a Montage client and you need an answer to it. Maybe you try calling us, I'm not available, or you just want to call just somebody different and get another opinion. You can call this 877 number. They have live HR representatives that can help you. All you have to do is ask them the question. They'll ask you a couple of pieces of information about your company and who you are, where you're from, and then they'll take down your question. And then what I've noticed is that they will give you a call back. The first thing they're going to do is email you with, hey, you called in, this is the information you asked for, and then they will do their research and then get back to you with a written explanation. That whole process, I have found, can typically take anywhere from 5 minutes to all the way up to maybe 24 hours, depending on the complexity of the question. But generally speaking, I have noticed that I get answers back within a couple of hours if it's something that I don't know. Your other option would be here in this area. You can either use their QA database, which at this point I'll show it to you in just a moment, but you're not going to do that here. You can just type in your question here. Is a receptionist an exempt job? Let's say that is your question. You can send that question to them. You'll see down here, you're going to fill in what category it would fall under. In this case, we're going to review everything, and let's just pick compliance. You'll fill in number of employees, because as you all know that some laws will apply to those that are 2 or more employees, 20 or more employees, 25, 50, so on and so forth. So this will give them enough information to make sure that they answer your question. So in this case, we'll put 15. The state is California, the city, we are in Woodland Hills. the type of company, insurance, and then what I would do is hit submit. Once I hit submit, this goes to a person at ThinkHR. You will get an email back to you stating that they've received your question and that they will get back to you with an answer shortly. You'll see that if you go down a little further, it gives you a little bit more information on the comply features. But this is how you would submit a question via this process, an email. But this is not what we're going to do today, so I'm going to delete all of this and then just go right into these particular buttons. With ThinkHR, there are so many different ways that you can actually access information that you can see that there are several ways to get to the same question, regardless of which button you've pushed. So I'm going to go into comply, into this comply button. It brings up a screen, and you'll see that there are additional tools down here at the bottom, as well as direct links up at the top. I'm going to go first to this Q&A database. And this is, you'll see here on the left-hand side that these are the most viewed questions. So maybe you have a general question that you'll be able to see here. Do we have to pay exempt employees, for example, do we have to pay exempt employees additional compensation to travel on weekends? So if that perhaps is your question, you'll see that somebody else has already asked it, and your answer may already be in here. In addition, I have noticed a lot in ThinkHR that they will actually give you links to government websites if your question has something to do with government compliance. In this case, with regards to compensation to travel, you'll see down here that there's a PowerPoint presentation that will open up that was generated, it looks like, by the Department of Labor. So that's just one key or very unique example of what they will do here at ThinkHR. I'm going to go back to, the Q&A database. And you'll see here, if you don't immediately see what question that you might have or an answer to a question that you might have, you can ask it here. So if we talk about exempt employees, you can pick a category of exempt, non-exempt, hit search, and additional questions will be here. So this is the Q&A database. There's a lot of questions that people have already asked that certainly you might have, and this might be a quick way for you to get to that information. Going back to, sorry, I'm going to hit back here a couple of times, refresh my screen. Going back to the ThinkHR Comply view, you'll see that there are other pieces of information that are going to be very helpful to you. Here is an employee handbook builder, for example. Now, as a caveat, I personally have not used this particular handbook builder. It does state that you can get a handbook in just 10 minutes. You will want to know, obviously, prior to getting started, what your policies and procedures are that you would like to have included in it, and start building your handbook from there. I would caution that any handbook that you would get from this, you will absolutely want to have it reviewed by an attorney or a labor attorney to ensure that it actually meets all of the requirements for the states that you might be in. But again, oftentimes people are looking for a quick handbook because they don't have one if they're a small company, or they just want a new one. They want to refresh their own look. This might be a really good tool for you to use for that. Going back to the ThinkHR Comply page, there are also classification tools. Now, what this classification tool will do is help you identify independent contractors. Also, it talks a little bit to overtime eligibility, or again, that exempt, non-exempt question. Independent contractor classification has been really big in the news, especially legal updates for 2015. I noticed actually had a lot of information on making sure that your employees are correctly classified as either employees or independent contractors. So this tool here, as I click onto it, will provide you with a lot of information on independent contractor status. It goes through the IRS factor explanations, the Fair Labor and Standards Act explanations. It also will provide you with a lot of information on how to assess whether or not you have correctly identified your independent contractors. This assessment tool will walk you through step by step different information on whether or not you have correctly identified it using IRS factors. For example, is a worker required to comply with your instructions when, where, and how his or her services are being performed? If the answer is you as a company have complete control over that, then that answer might be yes. If it is not the case that they can decide when they're going to come in, where they're going to come in, and how their services are going to be performed, then you would click no and uncheck yes. So this is a good start, I would say, in determining whether or not you have independent contractors correctly classified. This tool also gives you guides for different explanations or factors, as it says here, and suggested documentation. If you go into this, this will tell you what you might want to have on file for your independent contractors. Returning to the Comply homepage, other tools that you might want to use include a compensation tool. Now, what I've noticed on this compensation tool is that it does use salary.com information. Salary.com is not a bad system. However, you do want to use this with a grain of salt in terms of thinking about where that information is coming from. I think that salary.com, or this particular tool with ThinkHR, is a good tool if you wanted to do a quick and dirty check on different positions within your area. For example, if we wanted to, let's see here, if I wanted to do a quick search on a receptionist in the Woodland Hills area, it's thinking really quick. It's bringing, it says new jobs found. Let's see if I spelled this right. Or we'll try a different route here. Los Angeles. There we go. Let's do a search here. You'll see that you can do a search on different industries and then try to really filter this down. So we're just gonna, we really just want administrative support. I'll resubmit the search. And you'll see that there are two different jobs here. I clicked on receptionist. If I hit view salary information, it will tell me a median salary for a receptionist in Los Angeles. Again, I would just caution that this is probably not going to be the most accurate information, but it is a quick and dirty analysis that you can use for if you're looking for a compensation tool. Going back to the Comply, you'll see that there is a job description builder. I used this once just to see how it kind of worked, and what I really liked about this particular job builder was that it does tell you different things that you might need in order to build the job description. So if I were to creating and manage job descriptions, if I were just to hit on this, it should kind of take me through how to create a job description. Well, let's go back here. Oh, getting started. I'm sorry about that. So again, I'm going to use just receptionist because it seems to be an easier task. It'll also bring up maybe some different job descriptions here. So this is receptionist and information clerk rather than reinventing the wheel. And it'll walk you through doing a job description for your particular company. Again, this might not be exactly everything that you're going to need, but it will allow you to download it into a Word document that you can then use to really make a job description that will be right for your company. I'm going to go back to comply here and go through one more different feature here, which is the white paper library. Sometimes you might come across a situation where you want to read more from a scholar perspective. You can see that there's how to conduct a harassment investigation here, a white paper that you can download and hopefully get some information with regards to, in this case, conducting a harassment investigation. So a lot of neat tools in this first section here. Going back to comply, I'd like to also point out the features up here at the top. So if you don't see what you need going through these blue buttons, you'll see up at the top there are tool menus that will take you through things like meal and rest periods, minimum wage and overtime. Employment of minor, wage payment, independent contractors. Like I said before, with this tool, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So if you don't find it using one section, you'll probably find what you're looking for using perhaps the top section. I'm going to go to meal and rest periods because that usually seems like a really big topic. And you can see that here on my screen, I already have California as a filter because we do, Montage does business primarily in the state of California in terms of where we employ people. But you can also look and see what the meal and rest period requirements are in different states as well. So if I click on California meal and rest periods, it's going to bring up a labor code section and what the requirements are for rest periods and meal periods. Looking up here to discrimination. So discrimination and harassment compliance. Again, you can filter this to the state of California and it will go through what you are supposed to have in a policy, for example, what you are not allowed to discriminate against and harass against. And I clicked on guidelines. It took me to the California website for fair employment and housing. I can go back to the page that I was just on. You'll see that it opened a new tab. So I can go back to the old tab and play around with this if this was the area that I was interested in. With regards to managing employees, I clicked on the tool tab there. You can see that you can do a drop-down menu if we're talking about performance evaluations, whistleblower protection, labor relations, discipline, lots of different areas that you can choose from. And you'll also notice that all those same areas on the drop-down box are here in this area. I'm going to click on personnel records because that's often a question that I will get on what you need to keep and what are the different laws. I'm going to click on California personnel files, and this will go into what is required with regards to personnel files in the state of California. Moving on, sick leave or leave in general, and I skipped over safety and health. I'll go back to that in just a moment because I know that there were people that were interested in that as well. So I'm now on the leave and what needs to be done with regards to leave in all different states, but also you'll see here that there are checklists for FMLA for those that have FMLA. There's a California leave chart that might be very helpful to many people, and you'll see here that it's downloading. So if you didn't know what kind of leave you need to offer or what kind of leave might be applicable to your company, this would be a really good chart for you, and it's something that you can print. So you'll see here I can print it, or I can save it. I can make it larger or smaller. So this is all, again, a tool that you can use from ThinkHR. Going back to safety and health, I have had a lot of questions with regards to drug and alcohol testing. This is a tool that I've used before in trying to find out what is legal and not legal in the state of California. Again, you can filter it to California or other employers or other states, and this will be a good tool for you to use. But again, for California, here's information on when you can test, when you're not supposed to test, your responsibility with regards to random testing, and again, just general information in the law on drug testing. Benefits, this talks about health and welfare benefits, same-sex relationships, workers' compensation, an intro to employee benefits. I know that at Montage we do a lot of education on employee benefits. If we're your employee benefit broker, we often will go out and do open enrollment meetings to make sure everybody understands what benefits they have. But this tool can also go through more precise information on things like mandated benefits, health care and welfare benefits, retirement and pension benefits. So again, a good tool if this is the information, or if this is your role and you would like more information on benefits and you're not getting that from your broker, or you just have a general question that perhaps can be helped with this tool, this would be a really good tool for you. Forms and policies. Recently I was asked for an employee application, so or a new hire application, and this person just wanted to look at different styles of applications and see if there was something in it that she could use, and this was one that I had pulled from the Forms and Policies site. So if I go to hiring policies, I think that's where I found it. There was a hiring toolkit, so let me go back to Forms, hiring policies. There's a Forms toolkit that was very helpful that I'm not finding at the moment. It was under staffing, I'm sorry. Here it is, a recruiting toolkit. You'll see that there are different employment applications here. You can also actually find this on the Forms and Policies, but this was the easier way that I had found it. So I just wanted to point that out, that there's a common application. Again, this comes through in a PDF, so you can actually do a copy and paste of it, a professional one and a simple application, although that doesn't look terribly simple to me. But again, these are just samples that you can use for your convenience. I just clicked on job description. I'm going to bring this over so that you can see it. Here is a job description template. If you didn't build the job description through ThinkHR, you can actually use this template to start a job description if you would like. Wanted to kind of show you that. And then going back to recruiting, going back to this bar up here, I just wanted to point out that there are different state laws that you can get information on just through the state law. Again, I'm going to go to California because that's where the majority of you are. And you'll see here that if you just had a question on employment of minors, for example, here's the California state law on employment of minors. So again, very powerful tool with ThinkHR. The last thing I kind of wanted to show you within ThinkHR was ThinkHR Learn. ThinkHR Learn is a very powerful webinar tool that you can use if you have any kind of training that you needed to do either for a one-off employee or individual or a group of employees. For those of you who might be subject to California AB 1825, that's basically the requirement to make sure that your managers are being trained in anti-harassment and discrimination. This is a tool that you can use and send to them that will meet that compliance. So you send them a link to view the harassment training online. Once they complete it, take the test, they're given a certificate, and they can forward that certificate to you so that you have proof that they've done this training. So you can find this all through ThinkHR Learn. I'll really want to point out the training course list here. It is, I think, 7 pages long. There are so many different kinds of trainings that I wanted to point out. Here's safety. I think it's under compliance, so give me a second here. Yeah, here we go. Harassment compliance, California AB 1825, sexual harassment and discrimination law. This, by the way, for those who might be curious, it does include the information on abusive conduct, which was very important and added to our guidelines this year. So you do have this tool available to you. So if you hire, let's say you do your 2-year training for your managers, maybe you have a live person, but you hire a one-off manager or you hire a manager. Promote a manager. The requirement is that you are doing the training once every 2 years or actually within 6 months of hiring a new supervisor or promoting a new supervisor. So for those one-off hiring and promoting, this might be the tool that you could use in order to meet that. And then you can continue your 2-year in person if that works best for you. You'll also notice that there are other harassment prevention tools that you can use in here, including sexual harassment, what employees need to know. They offer it in Spanish. Not all webinars are offered in Spanish, but some of them are. Stop sexual harassment. So there are several different variations of the same theme. You can look into each one of these yourself and see what might work for your particular environment. So that was the ThinkHR course catalog, which I pulled up here. If I go into Access Learn Now, it's going to pull up a separate tab with the familiar kind of round buttons here. Somebody recently actually asked me about wellness, and they were very interested in seeing webinars on wellness. Here is a long list of different webinars on wellness that you can use and send to employees. There's financial wellness, fitness for everybody. If you want to know a little bit more about what each one of these particular wellness webinars are going to be about, you can click the little question mark, and it will tell you the main objective in this case for the stress management webinar, what the main objective is, and most importantly, how long this particular webinar would take. So I will go ahead and click on the stress management so you can see kind of what it looks like as it's pulling up. This is what your employee would see. You would start the course, and it takes a moment just to kind of upload here. And up comes the webinar itself. In this case, not in the harassment prevention, by the way, but in this case, you can go through and skip into different sections. I think I have to have this going. And maybe it's because it hasn't started yet. It's just loading. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that there is a way to kind of move around in between these seminars, and also to skip around if you need to. I will go ahead and let you know that you can print a certificate, but also it saves the training from where you left it. So if I were to go back into this tomorrow, it would start at the time that I clicked out of it. So that's a good portion. That way you don't have to go back to review it if you don't want to, or you can. You can move back and forth through it. So it's a really good tool. If you wanted to send it to your employees, if you click this sample training, I'm trying to move this here. If you click the sample training email, it will pull this up. You would copy and paste this into your email. Where it has highlighted areas, those are the areas that you actually would type in. And then you would send it over to your employees. So this gives them the link that they need and the information that they need to actually take the course. So again, a really good tool for you. That pretty much concludes what I wanted to kind of show you on ThinkHR. This might not have covered everything that you wanted to see in ThinkHR, and if there is something that you'd like more information on or you want to go through in a more thorough basis, please let me know. The next thing, or the next item we were going to cover in today's meeting was CSR 24. CSR 24 is something we also call our client portal. This is a portal that you can use as a client that will help link you to your different policies and summaries that you might have with Montage Insurance Solutions. That ThinkHR portal is actually available through our Montage site. So I'm going to go to www.montageinsurance.com, and you'll see that on our home page at the top right-hand corner under Clients, we have a client login. If you have policies with Montage, you should be able to access your policies through this. We're still building our site, or we're still building up the information that's located in here. So if you go to use this site and you're not seeing the policy that you're looking for, it could just be that we're still kind of making sure that we upload all of our attachments. So how we're kind of working through this is as your policies renew, those are being immediately uploaded. But for those that might have, be 6 months away from their renewal, we're putting as much information on this site as we have at the moment. But again, it takes a while to kind of pull everything in. So I'm going to give you I'm going to show you what you're going to see when you log in. If you haven't been sent a password and a user ID, please let me know. It's something that I can set up for you immediately. And what you're going to see when you type in your password and user ID is it'll bring you to this page. This is your landing page for your policies and summaries that you might have through Montage. Your policies and summaries can be found under what's called My Documents. And if you click in Documents Specific to Me, it's going to pull up all the documents that you will have that's connected to your client site. In this case, I'm using as an example Montage policies, so policies that we offer to our employees. So we have actually lots of different plans, but I've only picked a couple of these plans here. So here is, we actually use Blue Shield. This is a summary on the Local Access Plus HMO Premier 35. So I could go in and pull this summary from our site, and we'll have access to it there. As for SBCs, You probably already know that you need to have these SBCs on hand and available for any employee that actually wants a copy of it. They should have actually been provided a copy upon enrollment or open enrollment. They also should be able to access it if they want to, so this is an area where you can give them access to. And this would be the SBC for the Blue Shield Premier PPO 35. Again, I found this by going to the user or the client portal site, and it is under my document or documents specific to me. I'll go back to the home page. A few other features I'd like to point out is view my information. Now you'll see that this isn't really my information. This information is on the primary contact for our test client, which is Z test client is the name of our test client, and it's got a kind of a fake address and name to it. If you are not the primary contact for your company, you'll see that it will default here to the primary contact. So that is something that you'll want to keep in mind as you're kind of going through. Going back to the home page, you'll see I have included in everybody's site is our general employee newsletters. I know everybody gets these on a regular basis. Here's our May employee newsletter. If you wanted to save it and send it out, you can do that. If you wanted to do a general email to your employees about different well-being and safety news, this is our general, like I said, our general email or our general newsletter. You can, if you are a property and casualty client with us, meaning you might have a workers' comp policy or an auto policy, you will have access to different things like requesting to add a driver, but not everybody is going to have these exact same access because they might only be an employee benefit client with us, or they might only be a workers' comp client with us. So either way, the page that you personally are going to see is going to be just information that you should see, meaning if you are an employee benefit client, you're not going to see any of these auto ID, and vice versa. If you are a property and casualty client or workers' comp client, you're not going to see a lot of information on benefits. So I just wanted to point that out to you. If I wanted to view my policies, you'll see that I can see the different policies when they expire, who the carrier is. There's lots of different other information. If you didn't like the password I assigned, you wanted to change your password, you can change your password. You can request to change policies. This will go to our insurance team. In this case, it would go to Janine, and you can email her with a request to change a policy. Hopefully you're going to pick up the phone and give us a call, but that's one way that you can do it. So I've gone through all of the pieces that I wanted to share with you during our introduction to ThinkHR and CSR 24. I am sure that I've missed something that you might want to have to go through that's more specific to you and your company. I encourage you to give me a call or even give your account executive a call, and we can set up information on how to make sure that this works for you. Ultimately, it is our goal to make sure you have all the tools at hand for you to do your job, and if there's anything that we can do to help you understand better or any information we can provide to you, please let us know. Thank you so much, and I appreciate your time on this. Again, I apologize for the initial frustration, but hopefully we'll get this all worked out soon. Thank you.